Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 10th to the 16th of February 2025. So this week we have a full moon in Leo, and that's at 13:50 UK time at 24 degrees Leo on Wednesday the 12th. And in this chart we see that the Sun is coasting very near to Mercury. So the combination of the Sun and Mercury will be speaking universal truth, clear communication, bright ideas and visionary inspiration. And opposite the warm full moon in Leo, then that will be radiating from the heart rather than expressed in words or words expressed from the heart. So very warm and positive energy there, bringing to a close the 2-week period since the last new moon in Aquarius. So probably those will be the revelations that come through, anything that you've discovered in the last couple of weeks, been able to change your mind about, been able to see the worth and the true reality of. Then this looks very creative, very radiant and very expressive. And as always with Aquarius, a touch revolutionary, but coming from the right place. On the 14th we have Mercury moving into Pisces, so that then calms down the mind. We can sink in to the new realizations, absorb them, immerse ourselves in a new climate of water and soul, and feel the sensory meaning and embody what we've learned. Mercury in Pisces is said to be in detriment, but I find that to be on the contrary, as one of our intelligence centres is actually the cells of the body, which is ruled by Pisces, our magnetic being. So in our cells we hold wisdom and information, or sometimes fear and limitation. And as we've spoken about before, as Neptune gets ready to leave Pisces, we need to clear out any negativity and density, like wringing out a sponge, because Neptune will move into Aries at the end of March and start a whole new electrical cycle. So we want to get rid of any blockages for those new frequencies to come in. So in a way, Mercury will prepare us for this, feel inwards what's really true, what's eternal, what's soulful, not just some mental concept or opinion bias, but what really matters. What are we really saying and where are we saying it from? So a wonderful combination there with the full moon in Leo and Mercury moving into Pisces to speak soul truth and to really know ourselves. There's an element of self-mastery here on a very deep level. And this goes really well with the fact that Jupiter's recently gone direct in Gemini. So since last October, Jupiter took a retrograde back through Gemini, helping us to change our mind and see things with a new perspective, clear away some programs and patterns of thinking. Just because we think something on a regular basis doesn't mean to say it's true. In fact, if we think something often enough, we tend to calcify and double down on what we believe. But the Jupiter retrograde was to help us to break out of those old patterns and create new neural pathways. So it's all been about communication in Gemini. As is the full moon in Leo and Mercury in Pisces, the theme of this week is very much communication and what is it? Many speak but don't listen. And Gemini's the twins likes to balance things out and see both sides. Can we agree to disagree? Are we sovereign enough in our own true beliefs that others' opinions don't offend us? And what is free speech? You'll notice that's been a topic for the last 6 months, free speech. We very much need to be self-governing and not be told what we can or can't say by an external authority. But of course first we need to know that our thoughts are our own. We've not fallen into a consensus bubble. And we've even seen changes in the media, many people now getting their information from independent journalists rather than mainstream media, as we see some of the narratives start to fall down. And mainstream media can sometimes tell us one thing one week and one thing the next. So an example of that would be that apparently we've had the warmest winter on record in England, but the week before we were expecting an ice bomb from the north to blast Britain. And yet you have your own inner knowing. If you've been wearing your big coat since last October, it's probably not been the warmest winter on record. So sometimes we need to ask questions and just see from the other side. And other times we already know that we need to trust ourselves and be sovereign. So very interesting journey, sovereignty, Jupiter, through Gemini, communication. After the recent retrograde, what have we learnt? Can you trust your own thoughts and beliefs now? Or are you following along on an old path or perspective? Because later this year, when Uranus moves into Gemini, we really have the next 7 years to master our mind. That will be a very interesting Uranian cycle involving a couple of retrogrades. But Jupiter's come to clear the way. We don't have too much work to do. If we can clear out some of the dross and debris, then we should be feeling clearer already. But Uranus might help make some startling revelations and very quick changes later in the year. The Uranus and Gemini cycle, I feel, will also bring up, on a larger scale, the subject of AI, because Uranus rules the internet, computers, the future. So expect to see conversations on that, the pros and the cons, as it's in Gemini. As it's such a new technology, many people can automatically slip into praise or fear, just even when that term comes up. But for now, with Uranus direct, still in Taurus, cleaning up our heart, deconditioning our emotional programs, we should now be able to have the courage of our convictions and know our own true emotional state. So lots of clearing up happening here. Lots of big movements later in the year, outer planets moving into new signs. But for now the focus is very much on meditation, communication, knowing your own mind, clearing out any programming, knowing how to connect with your own thoughts, separate from the group, knowing how to assess information that's coming in with objectivity and sovereignty, and knowing how to speak from a warm and radiant and confident and wise place. So if you'd like to see what this is all happening for you, I am available, zoehines7@gmail.com. Do readings, courses and coaching, astrology, tarot, numerology, all recorded MP3 for you to keep and listen back to and let new layers reveal over time, and all online from the comfort of your own home. So do contact me if you're interested in any of that. And I'll post these videos on my YouTube channel Zoe Astro, Instagram Zoehines7 and Facebook Astro Zoe. So learning to listen this week really. Listen first, then think, assess, process, and then respond. Jupiter through Gemini has been like a massive Mercury retrograde at times, especially when retrograde itself. So reflecting back, what have we learnt since October? Are we of sovereign mind? Are we of pure heart? And are we able to really deepen our communication and conversations as a result? But as always, it's more about our internal narrative. The path to sovereignty will be always taking all of these transits inwards first and making inner alterations to see our outside world change. So wishing you an introspective and interesting week, and I'll see you next week.